Hey, what's up, everybody? What's up? What's up? This is Jeff from BKJmacTV, and this is the BKJmac podcast experience coming to you live from Brooklyn. And today we're going to be talking about the movie that has bombed on Hulu. Hulu basically produced it and commissioned money for it, and the movie was a dreadful disaster. It's an old school movie from my era. It's titled White Men Can't Jump. It's a remake from the original 1992 hit White Man Can't Jump, that was at the time starring Woody Harrelson and Wesley Snipes. This current adaptation remake stars Jack Harlow as Jeremy and Mr. Wall as Kamal, and they basically hustle their way in Los Angeles trying to win money over people who basically think, well, white men can't jump or basically can't play basketball, which I think is pretty much stupid by now. There's white players that can play basketball, but ignorance is still prevalent in the streets. Anyhow, in the review by RogerEbert.com, again, it's RogerEbert.com, is dedicated to the late great Roger Ebert, who was one of the greatest film critics of our time. He was able to give an accurate sense of the movie, the feel of the movie, to understand the movie, and he had a show, The Critic, which really told the essence of if a movie was good, do thumbs up, thumbs down at the movies. So this was at the movies, this show, and it was Roger Ebert and Roper. Anyway, here we go. This article was written by Robert Daniels, May 19, 2023, and it's titled White Man Can't Jump, 1 star. The movie literally got 1 star on Rotten Tomatoes. I knew how bad it was when I was watching it. I was like, this doesn't feel so good. But there were some good moments, but overall it just didn't feel good. Here's the state of the article. There's so much gall in director Kilmatic's White Man Can't Jump, but not of the good kind, not the kind that he attends. It's the type of noxious audacity that undermines him, that turns a classic into a rot joke, rendering his film a tedious ordeal. You're never quite sure what he wants to accomplish or why he thinks this story is ripe for a retelling. A glaring weakness shared by his House Party remake too. The film is as unimaginative as it is corny, as dull as it is cheap, and as unfulfilling as any cash grab for a well-known property could be. Wow, that was very harsh, but it is the truth. Writer-director Ron Shelton's White Man Can't Jump displayed a certain deft touch that this new version sorely lacks. It inverted stereotypes to reveal other stereotypes, bouncing on the surface through Billy Dowell, Woody Harrelson, a white former college basketball great now saddled with a major gambling debt, traveling across the country to avoid his creditors. Since black folks often underestimate white people's basketball prowesses, traveling with his girlfriend Gloria Rosie Perez, he hustles pickup basketball games such as the one played by street baller Sidney Dean, Wesley Snipes, to earn some cash. Billy and Sidney soon form a hard-earned understanding, ultimately competing in a two-man tournament that revealed the true character of each man. It's a smart, edgy story that still holds contemporary relevance. That is, unless your screenwriters Kenya Barnes and Doug Howell. In Kilmatic's hands, their screenplay, which sees the former film as outdated, more on that in a bit, undoes much of Shelton's number work. Jeremy, a monotone Jack Hollow, is a grafting personal trader toting an NPR bag and selling detoxing organic juice to his basketball clients. He was once a college basketball great, but two shredded ACLs kept him from maximizing his potential. He hopes to one day earn enough money to retool his ligaments through stem cells so he might go far for the G League. Similarly, Billy, through trash-talking Jeremy, baits black players into games for money. A salted, robotic Hollow delivers these bars with little bit and even less conviction. Wow, they really called his performance. I mean, to me, his performance was mellow. I mean, we've seen those type of guys before at the park. So even though they say that it's robotic in a sense, I disagree because I've seen guys talk like that, and it's just like, okay, it wasn't the greatest performance ever, but it was decent. His big victim, the only one we see, is Kamal Allen, Mr. Walls. Kamal is presented as a mystery. The film's opening scene sees a young Kamal and his dad Benji celebrating his signing with a nationally televised interview. So how did this promising player fall from NBA potential to playing in a basic gym? The only hint we're given in the first few minutes is a close-up of Benji's hand trembling as he holds his son's arm. 10 years later, the easily irritated Kamal is an easy mark for Jeremy, who calls Kamal a wannabe James Harden. The line is one of the many not-so-subtle attempts to recapture the social-political spark of Shelton's script. What ultimately made the original so indelible, apart from the beaming charisma of the star-studded cast, was its sharp critique of stereotypes. There's, of course, the provocative title itself. The phrase, "white man can't jump," is presented as a racial truism as common as the sky is blue, which feeds into the perception that white folks can't play basketball either. It's a reversal that initially pitches black people as racially insensitive to whites. Sheldon, however, ever so subtly spends the movie reconfiguring the phrase. Harrison really can't jump, though he could if he practiced, but his nonsense leaping ability is a metaphor for his lack of drive. While he shies Snipes for showboating, hard dogging, and not playing fundamental basketball, a plethora of dog whistles neatly sewn into the perception of black people as jobless thugs. It's Snipes who is the loving father working several jobs to support his family, while Harrison gambles away his and Perez's money. So you see the dynamic that was played in the original, which made it so compelling. You felt it. You felt the connection between the two characters that Snipes and Harrison was playing. In the new movie, you felt like it was disconnected. One was Jack House character was saving money for stem cell research after 2 ACL tears, and the Kamal's character was trying to figure out his emotional, what was going on with him, like internally. Like they highlighted a lot about mental health in White Man Can't Jump, the newer one, which is very important because mental health is a very big thing in the black and brown and white communities. And one thing that was probably one of the biggest things I could say that was really good about the movie that I liked was the focus on mental health awareness. But I felt like it just didn't really, there were points in the movie that was just so, that it just didn't move, it didn't feel, it's not something you could watch over and over again, it's not something that is timeless in a sense. And while looking at this review, it was like, wow, they really came for it. They really came for it. I'll tell you the ending of this review. It doesn't help that Killmatic simply lacks the visual storytelling chops to do so too. While slick and aerodynamic, the basketball scenes and the camera swooping through the gameplay with precision don't feed into the story. What are the many narratives in these pickup games? It's a question left largely unanswered, causing these scrimmages to feel stale and without rhythm. The choppy editing doesn't help either. Wow. Yes, pretty much. Yes. That is the idea, really. The film just, to me, was just uneven. It's not something that's worth a watch. But what I will tell you that is worth a watch is the original White Man Can't Jump, 1992, with Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson. That movie, I watched it recently. It just plays well, so smooth from beginning to end. You see the arrival of Woody Harrelson's character into LA, looking for games to play, and you see Wesley Snipes' character playing and balling, and then him taking the white boy, Harrison's character, for granted, and him losing his money, getting hustled. And you see it back and forth, the theme of hustling. But also, there's a part in the movie that will catch you by surprise, and it was almost like a red herring, and that was a device used very well. If for people who don't know what a red herring is, it's basically a plot device where the person watching the movie don't really know what's going on, but you point them in one direction and you totally don't expect something coming in the other direction, and it is crazy. And Woody Harrelson's character really gets got. Jimmy Howell, his character, really gets got in this part, and his wife and his girlfriend Rosie Perez has to come through and try to get his money back because he got hustled. The hustler got hustled, and you see his drive of trying to come up, trying to learn how to jump, because he couldn't jump, he couldn't dunk, and he continues losing money when he just couldn't dunk, and he shows it. But you know that every part of the movie is moving towards this, really, to conquer this stereotype of white man can jump, and that they can't jump, but they can jump. They can hang with black and brown people on the basketball court. And that's what we see in this movie, in the original one, that we didn't see in the new one. The new one really focuses on mental health awareness, and they could have played it more into that, but it really was so disjointed in a sense. And with the older one, it was just so fascinating. When in the old one, we see a throwback to Jeopardy. God rest your soul, Alex Trebek, from Jeopardy. We saw essence of the characters. We saw purpose in the characters. We saw purpose in the stories, even from the original White Man Can't Jump. And we saw the characters, the charisma between the characters, the scene where Woody Harrelson's character have to shoot a shot in order to get his girlfriend an audition into Jeopardy. It was an amazing shot. It was a big, amazing shot, and it's what kept people invested in the original film. It's why the original film could be watched over and over and over again. So it was a good movie. I'm mad that Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson wasn't even involved in the new one at all. They didn't even make contact with the old school heads and whatnot. And this is one of the reasons why I hate some of these remake movies, because they don't really get in touch with the old school cats, and that were the founders, the pioneers of the movies, of the old school movies that they're remaking. They want to do their own thing, and add all this Gen Z stuff into it, and basically the movie fails. And the movie got a 27%. It was an abysmal failure. I'm looking at White Man Can't Jump. The original one got 77%. I feel it should have got a 90. In my opinion, I would have rated it a 90 because that's how good it was. It was very fascinating. It was quite an enjoyable experience. But overall, if you're looking to watch both movies, they're both on Hulu. I would start off watching the 2023 version first, and then watching the original one from 1992. So at least You may start off disappointed, but you'll leave happy watching the 1992 version. If they ever try to make a remake again of White Man Can't Jump, they need to tell it in a serious, more grounded story, like the 1992 version did with Woody Harrelson and Wesley Snipes. And please bring back the original actors in the movie, because let me tell you this, Hulu, it just wasn't good, man. It just wasn't good. And as a filmmaker myself, I could have done a way better job. Let me see. Calmatic won a Grammy for Best Music Video. He's known for commercials. He did a movie, he did House Party. I heard House Party bombed in the movie theater as well. Hopefully he learns from this and makes more grounded, serious films, and that garners the respect of critics in the movie space. Thank you for listening to this episode of this podcast. This is a review for White Man Can't Jump for both movies. So thank you for listening. It's on Hulu, now playing. Thank you. This has been the 50th episode. Stay tuned for season 3. Thank you. Peace, love, always one.